Yo, what's up, family? This is Kevin M. Tucker, your favorite cousin, relationship and leadership strategist, communicator, and author. And y'all know how we do it. I want to welcome you to the Core podcast where, yes, we're back to cut to the core again. And y'all know we keep it real here. We get into the heart of what's been messing with your peace, your mind, and everything that stands in your way or gets in the way of the sense of your worth. And today we're diving into a special edition. It is an encore to the trap of perfection. And I got my man Simeon with me. Man, y'all gonna hear from him in just a second. But we're unpacking generational, cultural, and personal ways that perfectionism can block everything that's in your way. But we want to talk about it from a millennial point of view. So I need everybody right now, go ahead right now and like this podcast. I'm locked in, and I'm telling you, Simeon, my brother, bro.
Sure.
Listen,
Yes.
I got to say thank you so much for being a part of this particular podcast. I know this was not the initial plan that I had, but listen, I want to officially welcome you. And then, hey, just speak to our audience for a second.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I want to say thank you for having me, right? Helping me step out of my comfort zone. You know, we have these conversations, throughout the day in passing, but when you invited me to sit down, right?
It was feeling.
A whole different feeling. And it's a testament to what I was listening to, where, I'm not worrying about my words. Just sit down and have a conversation. It doesn't need to be perfect. Just be real.
And you know what? This is what I love about this podcast, because when I started this podcast, it was on the foundation that, listen, all I really want to do is impact people.
Yeah.
And I want people who have real stories, they have the courage
Yeah.
to share their stories, whether they've already overcame some things or you might be living in it in real time. And so today's episode, again, it is an encore to the trap of perfection. And it's from a millennial man's point of view. And in fact, Simeon, you are a father and a son,
Yes.
soon to be
Husband.
husband.
Yeah.
Bro, listen, we really got to unpack this and how it's impacting your life with this perfectionism concept. So here's where I want to start off real quickly. When you heard the trap of perfection,
Right.
what was it for you that said, yo, this is it for me? Because in our conversation, literally, we were just in passing
Right.
and had a conversation.
Right.
Like, what was it for you that really stuck with from the last episode to this moment where we're now about to have a conversation about it?
See, for me, like initially just listening to that episode, it was just getting in the car, putting some headphones on. I'm about to listen. But the part that really hit for me was when you was talking about needing to re-record the episode because this wasn't perfect, that wasn't perfect. But it made me think about just different things in my life where I would sit there, do all the analysis, need everything to be ready before I even make a move.
Wow.
Right? Granted, it wasn't podcasting, but just that one, it's like God wanted me to hear that podcast.
And that's crazy, because I know when we talked about how so many people view failure as a negative thing. And in the last episode, I said failure is receipts of your bravery.
Yes. That right there, that stuck with me too. Cause that's when I tapped you on your shoulder and I was like, failure is receipts of your bravery. And that is such a transformative statement, because now you have to think about it. It's like, how and why?
Right.
And then it makes you reflect on the times where, the perceived failure and look at the outcome.
So listen, and when I think about that, because again, a lot of people see failure as such a negative thing, and they don't really step out with courage and intentionality because they don't want to be perceived as a failure. They don't want to get it wrong. And they don't want to have to deal with the public opinion or the potential backlash to say, well, hey, you started it, but look how it turned out.
Yeah.
Maybe you should have never tried it.
Yeah.
And there's many people that's watching right now that have been in a season in their life or at a point in their life where they actually tried something that didn't work out. And guess what they had to deal with? People saying, see, I didn't believe it was going to work anyway. It can really transcend into every space in your life. But let's go deep. Listen, I really want to unpack this thing on perfectionism, because I really want to talk to you from the perspective of, take me back to your childhood.
Oh man.
I want to know. I just this. I really want to know.
Yeah.
Because when you and I talked, we talked about how when you heard episode 2 on that trap of perfection, you really started thinking through from childhood all the way up into your current moment right now as a father. So walk me through your life and your upbringing, and now that you have a better understanding of perfectionism,
Right.
and especially perfectionism paralysis,
Yeah.
and how it really is intended to prevent progress. And statistically, research proves and backs it up that perfection paralysis creates anxiety, depression. I mean, it literally will lock you down. So talk to me for a second about that.
And that's what I was saying earlier when you hear that, right? And then you're like, okay, yeah, this is me. But then you start asking why. Then I start reflecting, like, why is it so important to me that everything has to be good, right? I have to only present the good. If I'm going to do this, I need to know that it's going to work, right? I need to make sure A, B, C, and D is in place. And that took me back to, I was born in Haiti, right? And just the Caribbean culture, right? Now that I'm older and I have some understanding, it's like we were born in survival. No one was really thriving,
Wow.
right? So everybody was looking for your best. Everybody's from grades to, the grading system back then, it wasn't A, B's, or C's. So it was just numbers like hundreds or whatever. So if I came home with a 95, the 95 wasn't celebrated. It was,
So you telling me
no,
even with a 95,
it was,
just in America, that's an A.
yeah, it was
That
not
still
celebrated.
wasn't celebrated. Now,
Yeah.
help me understand, like, that's literally a great grade.
Yeah.
It's not 100. So you telling me that 5-point difference in your culture growing up in Haiti,
Yeah.
that's a big deal that you didn't get the 100 versus the
Yeah.
95.
It's like, why did you miss, the 5 points, right? Or whatever it is. But let's say I give you perfect example. But by this time we were in the States, I want to say I was maybe in 6th grade, right? I came home with a C and I had to hear every sacrifice that my mom made, all the hard work she did. She didn't bring us here to do all of this for me to be getting C's, right? So now I don't want to bring home any bad grades because failure, right, or not getting the best came with getting in trouble. It came with, being embarrassed, right? Because it's not staying home. It's getting a phone call, I'm working hard and these kids, this and that. And also too, comparison. That was the biggest thing. Like my brother and I, we would be compared to, and it's so funny because talking to like, Haitian friends, family, they go through the same thing. But our parents are comparing us to their kids, right? It's like, oh, so-and-so's daughter had 100, right? So why couldn't you get 100? So-and-so's daughter
Man, that's
went to
crazy.
college, right? They got accepted to this school. Why didn't you apply for that school and try to get accepted to that school?
Wow.
But not knowing so-and-so's daughter is going through the same thing too. You saw the 100 that time, but when they had the 92 to 95, they probably went through the same thing.
Man, let me tell you why this is so good. So many people, whether they acknowledge it or not, men and women, young and old, we all are faced with that particular challenge of, hey, I got to get this right.
Yes.
I think what we have an opportunity as millennials to shift that paradigm of the need to be perfect. And when I talk about perfectionism, it doesn't mean that we compromise our quality of excellence and putting forth our best effort. But we have to know that we're human. Everything will not always be right. It's interesting you said this because you mentioned the grades. Just a few weeks ago, I had a talk with both of my sons.
Right.
And I sat them down and told them that I wanted to share with them while I was proud of them. And I know they were probably thinking, just a look on their face, they didn't know what dad was going to say because, like, to them, probably nothing major had happened. But my youngest in particular, I picked him up from school 2.5 weeks ago. And on the way home, he shared with me that he had gotten an F on his assignment. So I asked him also, want to know what happened. And he told me what had happened. Then I want to know, well, what percentage of your grade is impacted by this F? And he said it was only a small percentage. But a couple of weeks after that conversation, that's when I brought them in. And to him, I said, let me tell you why I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you because you got an F, but you didn't let it overwhelm you. You got an F and you didn't let anxiety consume you. And I told him, I said, that's huge. And that needs to be celebrated because you're learning how to manage life, even as a 6th grader, and not be extremely sad or disappointed because you didn't get it perfect this time. And I told him, I said, son, let me tell you this. It's not always going to be right. There are going to be moments in life where you're going to miss it. And so what I'm trying to do is help my sons understand now that, listen, even in moments of imperfection, it does not define you. So that F doesn't define you. He's typically on the honor roll. I remember being in college. I got my first F in college, my first D in college, and you're talking about somebody that had honor roll from elementary all the way up to high school, and I don't know why I decided to start screwing up my first semester as a freshman in college. But that's when I got my first F and my first D. I just had to regroup. But I want them to understand that perhaps there's somebody watching right now that we really want you to understand that it's okay if you mess up. It is totally okay if you mess up. It is not the end of the world. Your mistake does not define the totality of who you are, or it's not the sum of who you are. And I think that's important because so many people struggle because, hey, they disappointed. They don't want to run the risk of disappointing somebody. Right. When you find that, when you had gotten those grades, and then you had to hear that response from your mom, talk to me about emotionally and mentally. How did that make you feel? Where were you?
So here, see, before I even answer that, something I want to touch on, right? You said that your son told you that he had an F.
He told me because I asked him.
Right?
Yeah.
Me, back in, those times, knowing that you're going to have that conversation, I'm already emotionally a wreck. Because like you said, what is it that you're going to hear?
Yeah.
It's like you're getting blamed. It's this weight and this responsibility, that's like put on you as if, the survival of our family is based on my performance. And I'm just a kid. Right? I'm like, what my grades got to do with your sacrifice and how hard you worked, right? And then you take that further into, going to college. And even going to college, like I went to college, but not really wanting to do what I wanted to do. But it's still in a way to appease, what my mom wanted us to go. Like, my brother wanted to be a graphic designer. That got shut down. You need to be in the medical field, lawyer, or engineer, something steady that has money. Because like I told you, it's survival, right? So us as the Caribbean kids, right? Speaking for the Haitian kids, my personal experience, right? You need to be better than what we did. So like you're the breakthrough eventually. But not without the guidance, and not saying like maliciously, I'm not gonna guide you. I'm just setting you out there. Now that I'm older, I know it was learned because that's what they got. So that's what they touching on us.
So perfectionism, this idea or this mindset, because really it's a mindset that allows us to create unachievable goals and expectations for ourselves, which in turn brings about the anxiety and the weight that you were feeling as a kid. Because again, you're human. And this is why I think we have to embrace imperfection. But you said something key. You said it's learned.
It's learned. Yeah.
You said it's learned. And you know what's so crazy? In my own study of this topic, I discovered that research proves that is learned. And I want everybody to listen up right quick. I want everybody, because I want to give you some stats on this thing. There was a young lady by the name of Erica Lee from Boston Children's Hospital, and this is exactly what she said. She said, as culture gets more competitive, younger people feel like they have to be perfect, and they put that pressure on themselves. But then the article talks about how perfection paralysis is learned in childhood. Perfectionism often passes from parents to children through role modeling and conditional approval. Back to what you were talking about. In homes focused on achievement, criticism, and harsh reactions to mistakes, children are more likely to adopt perfectionistic thinking. These patterns have become internalized, shaping how they handle stress, failure, and their risk factor in life. And then it also said that perfectionistic parents tend to raise perfectionistic kids, which increases anxiety, depression, and even self-criticism. And then this is the last one that I want to give right here, because I think this one is so key too. Psychologists also say perfectionism comes from two traits. Number one, high conscientious. This is the strivers chasing excellence, and high neuroticism. This is people who worry and are always focused on failure through their worry. So the strivers set crazy high, unrealistic goals, and the warriors get trapped by anxiety and self-doubt. So just thinking about that, you're only confirming what research has already proven, that perfectionism, paralysis, it causes that level of anxiety that creates a weight that you almost like, man, I forget this. I don't even want to try no more.
Yeah, and I could even add to everything you just said, add procrastination to the list, right? Just sitting back and waiting, like I can have an idea, right? So now you start to play this thing out in your head, all the steps you need to take to get it right. So in getting it right, some of these steps could seem unachievable, but you just sit back. Yeah, I'll do it when I know more. I'll do it when I learn more, or I'll do it when I have more money.
So that perfectionism, it really steals your courage. It really interferes with your ability to really step out into deep waters, even if you can't see clearly or you can't swim all the way. Perfectionism has a way of really causing people to be gripped by what I believe is the spirit of fear. And it's because you don't want to have to relive those same emotions and feelings that you had from the last moment you messed up. The last time I messed up, you went completely off. And you know what's even worse? Is when we messed up and we know in our heart we have done the best that we could, and our best is not somebody else's expectation.
And let's say, right, going back on the issue, like grades, right? I think grades will paint this better. Let's say you bring home that 100. It's not a celebration. That's what you're supposed to do anyway.
So ultimately, you're supposed to, no matter what,
that's what it's supposed to be in there.
100.
Yeah, that's it. That's what it's supposed to be in there. So everything else, like you said, it's the repercussion, it's the criticism, it's the comparison. But let's say you do something that is deemed good or perfect. That's what you're supposed to do onto the next thing, and take it to even being older. Like I said, right, I went to college just to kind of stick in the medical field, but still, in a sense, do what I wanted. So I have a degree in sports medicine, right? Not even a couple of days after the degree, right? So when you're gonna look for a job? That's no congratulations. Like, and I'm being real, right? And it's funny, I keep a lot of this stuff in, and even now I'm thinking about it, right? And that's why that I told you in our conversation, I was not expecting to go somewhere from that episode, to go back all the way back to my childhood, right? But I feel like God is presenting all these situations, right? And putting me in situations where it doesn't need to be perfect for me to do what he's asking me to do. And I have to get over that.
I think that's important because remember, when God created us, he already knew what we was going to struggle with. He knew the shortcomings we would have. He knew our personality types. He knew for a fact we would not always get it right. And I just believe that's why the Bible lets us know he's going to perfect those things that concerns us. When we are struggling, God's strength is there to help us in any moment of weakness. I think sometimes, again, is we spend so much time trying to please other people.
Yeah.
And there's somebody watching right now. And matter of fact, if this is really hitting home with y'all, I need you to drop a comment because I'm African American. We talk to a lot of Americans, and I'm pretty sure we would probably find it in other cultures, whether that is the Hispanic culture, Asian. I'm pretty sure perfectionism, we're going to see it throughout multiple cultures and diverse groups of people that many people, young and old, even to this day, I guarantee you, let us line up 10 leaders in 10 different industries. And I guarantee you, we're going to find some of those leaders are struggling because they don't know how to progress without the weight of having to always be perfect and having to always get it right. The challenge with that, though, is if I have this mindset that I always have to be right, the people that I'm leading, where do I spend time giving them the grace to mess up?
Right.
Same thing holds true with our children. And this is the reason why I wanted my sons to understand from their dad. I don't care what anybody else tell you. There's room for you to mess up and grow from your imperfection. But we got to embrace those moments where we imperfect, sit in it, chill, relax, and not take on that weight. And I know you as a father, I mean, I'm pretty sure that listening to you now and understanding your upbringing, how has that played out in your relationship with your daughter?
So I'm telling you, like I told you before, I caught myself doing that. Oh, let me not say I caught myself. I was talking to my fiance and she called me out on it. And then I realized that I was doing that. So my daughter sent me a video after her track meet, right? I couldn't make that track meet. I was in the hospital with my fiance. She sent me a video. She came in first place. My response was, wow, she's good. If she fixes that form,
So instead of you just saying,
yeah, I hit her with that's good, but it's like I couldn't just stop there.
you couldn't.
It was like, oh, if she fixes that form, first place will be. And my fiance was like, just enjoy this one. She did whatever the form is now and got her first place.
So I'm glad your fiance told you that.
Yeah, yeah.
Because my next thought would have been, and my question would have been, okay, first place was the school's objective and goal for her. She did everything apparently right to achieve what the goal was for the team and for her. And but looking at her performance as her father, you still.
And it wasn't even from like a malicious. I was smiling when I said it.
It was just a part of the culture and what you've been used to for so many years.
Exactly.
How is that, like, just knowing that and just kind of like, as we're talking about, just sitting in this now, and from that moment and from the time you heard episode 1, like, how were you starting to like perceive this perfectionism concept and this idea, and how you plan to move forward?
Listen, just as a 34-year-old man, I had to realize that it's not too late to start figuring things out.
Yeah.
Because that was one of the issues with me too, hitting 30. I'm like, man, I'm 30. I don't have this. I don't have that. I'm not doing things right. But there's really never a set time. Granted, I'm not saying just sit back and do nothing till you're like 60 or, hey, let me figure it out. But it's never really a set time. Right? It's having people around you, right, that see you as more than your performance, right? And most importantly, the word of God. And I had to realize that procrastinating and waiting for everything to be perfect, we're putting limitations on ourselves, right? Because I don't remember the exact chapter and verse, but in one of the Psalms, it says, teach us to number our days.
Right.
So our days are numbered. So if we need everything to be perfect to move forward, we're wasting time, pretty much.
And that's the perspective that I think is the healthy perspective, is knowing that, listen, over time, things will eventually align and line itself up in the way that it needs to be lined up if we take the proper steps and we learn how to grow and learn from the bad choices, the mistakes, or wherever that gap is. The gap can be closed.
Yep.
And I think it's being comfortable and okay that, hey, I didn't get it right this time, but there will be a next time to get it right. And it's cool. I mean, the whole reason why I even started talking about this subject is because, as someone who just launched a podcast, but is a long-time communicator, I was honestly nervous about launching a podcast because it was outside of my comfort zone in terms of the methodology that I use to communicate. And when I tell you, I'm in a season in my life right now, and I've always been okay to some extent with imperfection, but not 100%. If I truly be honest and transparent, not 100% comfortable. But I really believe where I am right now in my life, man, when I tell you I am embracing every ounce of imperfection in my life, because God is teaching me. And y'all hear us using God. You may hear us refer to scripture, because one thing I'm not going to do is deny my faith. And I am a man of faith. And I know the role that God plays in my life. And I'm very transparent about that. And so I'm in a season in my life where, listen, I'm going to remain calm. I'm going to be chill. I'm going to embrace every moment of imperfection. And through that imperfection, I'm going to grow. I'm going to reassess. And I'm coming into the full authenticity of who I am as an individual without compromising the excellence. So the excellence allows us to be able to perform at a very, very high level with access to whatever we have. Perfection It's the concept that, or the idea that I will not get started until I get everything right. Like a lot of people do. Or after I get started, then I'm literally looking at everything that I did wrong. And I'm looking at it, just like some of the things you were saying. And what happens is you can open up a door to like feel extremely disappointed, so much to the point where you start crippling your own self. And I think about this example, Simeon, just sitting here talking to you. I'm thinking about, for example, let's just say I come home from work one day, extremely tired. And typically I clean up my house. Like I'm not a dirty person. But this particular day, I'm coming home, I'm tired. And I've been in moments like this where I come home from work and I'm just really tired. I'm like, I'm out washing the dishes.
Yeah.
Or I may just put the shoes down on the floor instead of putting it in the closet right then and there. But do you realize that one moment don't mean I'm a dirty person?
Right.
It doesn't mean that. And I think we really have to shift our perspective and our thinking on how we view ourselves when it comes to perfection versus imperfection. Our mistakes is not the sum of who we are.
Right.
Now, to go a little bit deeper with this. Now, if we find ourselves in a situation where there's a cycle that we keep trying and we keep trying and we keep trying, but we're not actually producing the fruit or seeing the results, then those are other things that we got to talk about. Because perhaps that is just, we may need to talk about what's your strategy. Are you using the right strategy?
Right.
Are you taking the appropriate route to get the results that you're looking for? But the starting point is the most important part.
Right.
Because nothing else we can talk about unless you get started. Man, Simeon, listen, when I tell you I'm enjoying this conversation, I am loving it. And this is what I need everybody to do. I need you to lean in at this point in your life. Do like me. I want you to embrace imperfection because I'm telling you there's a level of freedom that comes with embracing imperfection, the vulnerability, while not compromising your excellence. But guess what? This is our wild card moment.
Yes.
Yes. So in the episode, we do a wild card thought or a wild card question. And so this is the question, Simeon, that I want to ask you. If your daughter was sitting right here, right now, and asked you the question, Dad, what does it mean to be enough without being perfect? What would you tell her?
Wow. Real good question. Definitely what I would tell her is that she was never made to be perfect, right? When God created her, the word of God says he knew her. He knew all of us before we were formed in the womb, right? All she has to do is be who God called her to be.
Wow.
Right? And my job is to guide you, protect you, and give you the validation that you need, right? And encourage you and walk you through the mistakes, right? Walk you through the learning process. You're enough now. You were enough yesterday. You'll be enough tomorrow.
Man, you know what? That's powerful. That even as her father, that you would apologize to her by not overlooking the process and just reminding her that she is enough. And you mentioned validation. And I think that's crucial because as fathers in particular, we do want to affirm our kids so that they gain a sense of their identity through our parenting and as we develop them in life. But I think it's so important, when I think about the word validation, that is also so important, Simeon, that we grow them and develop them in such a way that they're not looking all over the world for validation because they feel the need to be perfect. And that's why this imperfection is so important, because you don't want to be in a situation where at the root of imperfection, you're doing things in such a perfect way just to be validated, for people to tell you you did good. That can become a destructive cycle where you are just really just losing yourself and don't even realize it.
And you're right. Because now if you really think about it, right? Sometimes I don't think it's, like you said, it's perfection that we're seeking. It's that validation.
That validation.
It's like the thing that I'm doing, it's good. It has a place in the world.
Yeah.
I'm worthy because I did something to be seen as worthy. So for it to be worthy, it has to be perfect, right? For it to be excellent, it has to be perfect. But those two, they're not the same.
They're not the same. Just like excellence and perfection is not the same. Again, and that's why I'm a firm believer that as we pursue all the different things we are trying to achieve, can be imperfect as human beings, but that doesn't have to compromise the quality of our work, the quality of our effort, our level of excellence, and the intentionality that we give through that excellence, because excellence and perfection can mask itself. You and I was in a brief conversation recently, and you brought that up, that we have to even be careful with this because one can mask the other. And that's why I think we got to pull back the layers, that we're careful that even in our pursuit of excellence, that we're not masking it behind, hey, I got to be excellent because I'm trying to be perfect.
Right.
That I just want to be authentic.
Yes.
And I really think that's the key, man.
That's excellence.
And that excellence, being authentic.
As real as you can, that's excellence, right? Because it's not always going to be right. Like I know it might sound simple or cliche. It's not always going to be right. And when it's not right, it doesn't end there.
It doesn't. Man, I'm telling you, I think this is a great plug for me to even mention my book that I wrote a couple of years ago, The Core Lifestyle, Take the Leap and Win in Challenging Times. Now, this particular book, Simeon, this book right here is really going to help people deal with real life issues. I wrote it specifically to provide strategies and tools to help people deal with difficult moments in family, relationships, leadership, and in the pursuit of their own journey, when it comes to personal fulfillment, personal development, because I'm a firm believer we have to start getting to the root and to the core of our issues and our problems. So if you want this book, you can get chapter 1 for free. Click the link in the description to go ahead and purchase your copy of this book today. Now, Simeon, man, we're about to wrap this thing up, because I'm telling you, when I tell you I'm really enjoying this, here's what I want everyone to know. This is going to be your takeaway for the week, and I want you to write this down. You do not have to be perfect to move forward, and you don't have to have it all together to be worthy. When God created you, you were already made worthy. So you don't have to do all of the extra things and to be validated and to try to figure out life on a route that can be very destructive, because you're trying to prove yourself and you are not defined by your mistakes. So here's your challenge this week. This is the challenge I'm going to give you. Set aside some time this week. I want you to set aside time where you can have a clear mind, simply reflect, and I want you to identify 3 areas where perfectionism has held you back. For each of those areas, this is what I want you to do. Write down one small, practical step that you can take now, that you can take today. And what you're going to do is you're going to reflect on those moments. And this is going to lead you into your next intentional step. But Simeon, I'm a firm believer, we got to clear our mind. We got to still the noise around us, settle our hearts. And I need us to sit in this moment of imperfection and really come to a place where we really understand who we truly are. Now, Simeon, before we wrap this thing up, what would be one thing that you would tell those that are watching or listening right now? How would you encourage them in this stage of their life as it pertains to avoiding perfectionism paralysis?
One thing I would say, right, whether you're a man or woman, right, is that when you try to be perfect, honestly, I believe that it slows you down, because the only perfect step is the first one.
It's the first one.
It's the first one. Just take the first one and learn on the way. You're going to figure it out on the way, right? Let's say you can get it the best that you can. It might not be on the first try or the second or the third one. That's why we have to be process driven and not results driven, right? And if you're a parent, you're listening to this, don't shy away from doing the reflective work. Like, have I been too much on my children, demanding perfection, right? And just take this moment and reflect and look in on yourself. Yeah, it's going to be scary. It's going to be difficult.
Right.
Because I believe that the part of healing and changing that's the hardest is realizing the part where you were the problem, or, you were causing the issues, whether it's intentional or just learned.
Wow. You know what? Hearing you say that, it reminds me of when I got married.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you, if you get caught up in perfection and just focus on moving forward through perfection,
Yeah.
you'll find yourself being overcome by fear.
Yeah.
As I said earlier, it'll almost block you or stop you from moving forward. I remember the week that I was getting married, I was like, man, can I even do this? Because
Wow.
I'm naturally a leader. I was a leader in the corporate space, leader in the community. But one thing that I was lacking was I had never been taught how to be a leading husband. So there was an area of deficiency there. There was a level of vulnerability that, man, it was
That's a
uncomfortable.
good
And
word.
it literally scared me to the point where I really did think I could do this, because I feel like, what is it that I'm going to be able to get right? And if I don't get it right the first time, or even perhaps the second or the third time,
Right.
what would be the outcome? And I really had to get to a place, even in that, of understanding this is a new stage and phase of my life where I'm just growing and I'm embracing, and I am an authentic man that is imperfect, and I'm going to grow and enhance and become a better leader, better husband, and a better father along the journey.
Right.
But if I was worried about just being perfect,
Mm-hmm.
man, let me tell you something, I almost would have walked away.
It's so true, because that's affected me in past relationships, right? And even in my relationship now with my fiance, having to take that step to be transparent and vulnerable about, where I feel that I'm lacking, just, past childhood issues.
Wow.
It was a risk. It was a scary thing,
Yeah.
because I didn't want to look like that guy that's not perfect, or like the guy that she wouldn't want to be with. Right. And even, I'll tell you a quick little story. It was a moment we were having a discussion, and it's like, you know what? Just take that step. It's risky. It's always going to be a risk.
Yep.
Right. I kid you not, Kevin. I had to pretty much hide, even though I was by myself, right? To be vulnerable. But taking that steps, that's how I was able to realize that my vulnerability is safe with her.
Yeah.
And that could translate to career or anything.
Yeah.
Right?
Any area of life.
Write that book, right? Take that step to do that business, because you won't know. If you're waiting for everything to be right, you'll never know.
Listen, man, I hope y'all have enjoyed this particular episode right here. This is the encore of the trap of perfection. Simeon, man, bro, thank you so much for being a part
Yes.
of this particular episode. I'm going to ask all of y'all, listen, how can you support me? Number one, make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on those notifications, share this podcast with somebody that needs this content, because I'm telling you, my whole goal is just to impact people, change the way people think, and get people to a place where they can live an authentic and free life, a life of freedom. And so I'm really excited about, what people are going to gain from this particular episode, and just the life lessons, and how people are going to just be able to grow and sit in imperfection. Don't compromise the excellence. And I'm telling you, keep locked in. I want you to stay locked in to what is about to happen, because when I tell you, man, Simeon, here's the crazy part. They don't even know this. They don't even know this. Talking about imperfection.
Right.
Literally, the camera cut off yesterday.
Yeah.
When we recorded, and we had to re-record the last 10 to 12 minutes of this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Had we been focused on perfection, we probably would have bailed out and said, you know what? I probably say, you know what? Forget it.
Yep.
I'm not even recording this. I mean, will you watch?
See, you probably didn't even realize I forgot my watch.
And you had it on in the lab.
Had it on yesterday.
Listen, see, that's what I'm talking about. So listen, when you're leaning in with excellence and you can embrace imperfection, you really tap into your authenticity. So listen, again, remember, courage and intention is the way. Turn those notifications on. This is To The Core Podcast. See you next time.